A lot of anti AI discourse is not reasoned criticism, it is technological illiteracy mixed with moral absolutism, which most people can't even define absolutism in ethics. You mention the word AI, and suddenly people stop making distinctions. They cannot distinguish between local AI and cloud AI. They cannot distinguish between an individual disabled user and a $1 trillion corporation. They cannot distinguish assistance from replacement, generation for transformation, or training a custom model on your own work from scraping someone else's work. Everything is flattened into one category: AI bad. That is not analysis, that is harm flattening. This is more binary than AI. Instead of addressing individual distinctions of harm, different levels of harm in different areas, you people flatten it all to one level as a binary absolute. Using AI is not automatically stealing. Theft requires more than merely being influenced by something. If influence itself were theft, then Helldivers would be stealing from Starship Troopers. Every genre would be plagiarism, and every artist would be guilty from learning from previous artists. The relevant question is what someone actually produced. Did they reproduce another person's work? Did they impersonate them? Did they commercially substitute for a specific work? Or did they transform ideas, reorganize information, generate something new, or use a tool to express something despite a disability? Anti AI absolutists rarely care about these distinctions or can even make them. They also say AI is stealing jobs, but tools do not decide to fire workers, corporations do. A disabled person using AI to write, organize thoughts, code, communicate, or make art did not lay off an employee. A solo game developer who could never afford an entire art department did not fire an art department. That hypothetical job never existed. You can't fire something that never existed. If someone was never going to purchase a human commission, then their use of AI did not take a commission away from someone. And many projects made with AI assistance simply would not exist without it. The real alternative is often not AI creation versus human employment, it is AI assisted creation versus nothing being created. Then there is the disability issue. A disabled person explains that AI functions as a cognitive prosthetic. And someone replies, "Well, I'm disabled and I don't need it," treating one disabled person as all disabled people. My disability does not require this accommodation, therefore yours doesn't either. Typical fascist. It is the same logic used against wheelchairs, medications, screen readers, mobility aids, remote work, and every other accessibility tool since the dawn of time. I managed without it, so you should be forced to manage without it too. That is not progressive. It is authoritarian ableism disguised as artistic ethics. It is German socialist nationalism. It becomes almost fascistic. Strangers dictating which tools disabled people are permitted to use, what assistance they supposedly need, and whether the limitations are legitimate enough to justify access. Can I see your papers, please? Anti-AIers also constantly invoke water consumption as though AI were one machine with one universal environmental footprint. Environmental costs should be measured seriously, but saying AI uses water is not a complete argument. Data centers, streaming, cryptocurrency, cloud storage, gaming, video rendering, search engines, social media, and every other large digital service consume water and energy. Animal ag uses way more than AI. And I don't see you quitting meat. The rational questions are how much, compared with what, using what model, running locally or in a data center, powered and cooled by what infrastructure. Instead, AI uses water becomes a ritual phase, a copy paste rhetoric, a substitute for comparative analysis. It's simple and easy. It's an excuse. The contradictions become even clearer when an artist trains an AI model exclusively on their own work to help develop a game. Who are they stealing from? Themselves? If people still condemn that, then the theft was never really their concern. The offense is that simply AI was involved, which is not rational or logical. The same problem appears with the word slop. Historically, slop meant low quality, derivative, mass produced material. It described the characteristics of the product. Now people call anything involving AI slop before even seeing it. That is not just aesthetic judgment, it is a category prejudice, and the argument defeats itself. If all AI output is inherently worthless slop, then how can it replace talented artists? If it can genuinely replace commercially useful work, then it cannot be all worthless. They want AI to simultaneously be incapable of producing anything valuable and powerful enough to destroy every creative profession. Both claims cannot be universally true. People also regularly enjoy a work until they learn AI was involved. The content remains identical, but their evaluation suddenly reverses after the fact. That means they are not judging the work anymore. They are judging the contamination of a category. The image did not become uglier. The writing did not become less coherent. The game did not retroactively become less enjoyable. Their ideological reaction overrode their direct experience. This is data purism over human access. Preserving a supposedly pure creative process matters more than whether the result helps, communicates, entertains, educates, or allows a disabled person to participate. A custom AI trained on your own writing, artwork, notes, or personal databases can function as an extension of your own cognition. It can help transform your ideas without replacing your authorship. Just as an editor, assistant, commissioned artist, volunteer, collaborator, accessibility aid, or software tool can help materialize an idea that began with you. That does not mean every AI use is ethical. Corporations can exploit workers, models can be built irresponsibly, people can imitate artists, flood platforms with low quality material, deceive audiences, or use automation to eliminate jobs. But guess what? Humans were already doing that before AI. Most of the shitty games that we have now have nothing to do with AI. And those are real criticisms because they identify actual harms. But AI was involved is not an actual harm. The irony is that many anti AIers claim to be defending humanity from cold, irrational machines while behaving less rationally than the machines they oppose. They reject definitions, distinctions, they reject evidence that complicates their position, they ignore disabled people when accessibility conflicts with their purity, they blame individual users for decisions made by corporations, and then they judge works not by quality, originality, harm, or function, but by whether a forbidden tool touched them. That is not ethics. That is moral panic. And when purity becomes more important than human autonomy, disability, accessibility, evidence, and actual consequences, anti corporate rhetoric begins reproducing the same authoritarian logic it claims to oppose. Congratulations, you are exactly what Sartre warned about. You became the corporation.